When you're leading a small business or you're a solopreneur, sales are always on your mind. Your business lives or dies based on them. So, how can you take the sales transformation program for a big company and apply it for you? William Reddick of Global Performance Group is going to tell us exactly how he uses this global sales transformation program that is for huge national companies and also really small companies with less than 10 people. We're going to talk about how to apply those big sales tactics for little companies. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Tiny Marketing. I'm Sarah Noel Block and I teach small marketing departments that are tired of feeling overwhelmed and under-resourced how to build and manage an effective and efficient marketing strategy that works for them. You get expert marketing advice from someone who's been there, done that. Get ready, it's time to dig in.
My name is William Reddick. I am the Vice President of Marketing and Sales Enablement for Global Performance Group. Global Performance Group, we consider ourselves a revenue improvement company. So we impact sustainable success for sales organizations by maximizing margins, revenue, and profitability. We use a hybrid ecosystem of application-focused solutions to do that, to make sure that it's scalable through technology and also that our clients have expert coaching. So our objective is to spark a revenue generating fluency regardless of the size of your organization. So you could be a smaller organization with 1 to 2 salespeople or a larger organization like we work with on a regular basis as well. Either way, our programs help to transform companies in the way that they operate and the way that they generate revenue. So that's Global Performance Group and what we do.
Can you tell me a little bit about your sales transformation program through your company?
Definitely. Yeah. So at Global Performance Group, we provide a lot of different programs actually to help sales teams transform in the sense that they transform their behavior in the way that they approach dealing with prospects and customers throughout the sales cycle, which ultimately impacts how they're able to generate revenue through less discounting, higher close rates, faster sales cycles, all of those things. Those are things that we focus on providing for our clients. So the 3 main programs that we deliver are outcome-based selling, outcome-based negotiation, so helping with the negotiation process, and then dealing with procurement and professional buyers. So that's a common thing that we see in the B2B world where procurement is involved in kind of these larger deals going through and checking out several different suppliers and how could salespeople better interact and deal with those situations where procurement is heavily involved. There's some other programs with that. We also have selling to the C-suite, how do you sell more effectively to CEOs and COOs, CFOs, and retain, renew, and grow. So how do you retain, renew, and grow? How do you upsell, cross-sell, and maintain those
Oh,
relationships?
that's helpful.
Yeah. So a lot about our sales transformation program, it's really about sustainable success.
hmm
So not just a lot of people will go through a training and then they kind of brain dump it. It's all about, really heavy practice. Because how do you get good at something like sales? It's not something that you can just read about and be like, all right, now I'm an expert. Our approach really leans heavily on practice and application. It leans heavily on getting feedback from a coach and from experts that have been teaching this stuff for a very long time and that know the ins and outs. And it really leans heavily on tailoring. How can we help you, not just give you something off the shelf where you're learning something that's just been on a bookshelf for 20 years, but how can we help you with the clients that you're currently facing and working with every single day to help not only your business, but help them with their business, or in the case of B2C, help them to get what they're looking to accomplish and their ultimate outcome. We deliver that through a hybrid approach. So we have our own platform that helps the users and the learners to go through at their own pace. From that point, there are different ways you could do it. You could just simply do the platform straight up and learn that way. It's
hmm
gamified and there's application and exercises in our platform. It's called the Agile Learning Performance Suite, or we call it ALPS. That's a shout out to our CEO. He's based out of Austria. So,
Oh, okay.
and then from there, typically it goes, workshop where we can either fly out our coaches and facilitators to your company and you apply those concepts that you learned in our platform with a live expert, or you could do it virtually. And then from there, we have one-on-one coaching sessions with salespeople. We track what were the opportunities that you applied these skills to and be able to provide you with your return on investment, and then reinforcement from there. How do we continuously reinforce those skills and continue to apply them? And then we also have a cool certificate that if you complete the entire process, it's actually, we are an affiliate of the United Nations. So I think that's pretty cool to be able to have that certificate at the end
Yeah.
of it. So yeah, that's our process. That's our sales transformation process.
A lot of people who watch or listen to this show, they are small businesses. They might have one or zero people in their marketing department. The salesperson might possibly be the CEO. So
Right.
let's talk about that situation. How can they apply what you teach in sales transformation to those small departments that are doing a million things and sales?
Definitely. I think the key for us is that in terms of what we teach, it's applicable whether you're a Fortune 100 company or you're a one person show like you're describing, because ultimately it boils down to the human factor. That's what we teach, right? How does one human being get another human being to effectively lean on them as an advisor? How does one human being get another human being to think in terms of outcome that their product or service can deliver? How do you stay in the tension of these high pressure conversations, especially when you're new to sales, when typically you're tempted to go into fight or flight, not fight or flight in the sense of you're going to punch your customer or run away, but in the sense of fight or flight, like you might get a little bit overly aggressive in a situation, or you might acquiesce and give in to their demands immediately. And those are the things that our experts teach on, and they're very impactful. I've seen it be impactful for small organizations that we've worked with, and from some of the big names that we work with on a regular basis as well. And what I think is cool about the way that we deliver it is that it's accessible at any time. We have the hybrid platform for this.
That is
For
nice.
yeah. So
They can do it like for these companies, they're obviously crazy busy because they're all wearing multiple hats. But
right,
if you have a Friday afternoon where you're like, you know what? I'm not going to be working in the business today. I'm going to be working on the business. You
right,
can watch the program and invest your time into learning how to do sales better.
right.
So I like that you talked about when selling B2B, it's still selling person to person. You're building a relationship with somebody else, and you have to show them that you can be trusted. You do know what you're talking about. And the only way to do that is to show that value and show up for them so they can see firsthand that you can be trusted and handle their problem and walk them through it as their guide. You talked about outcome based sales. Describe that to me.
Yes. So it's what we teach our clients to get them to sell to customer outcomes instead of features and benefits. I think it's a really common thing for people that aren't particularly experienced in sales to talk about my product can do X, Y, and Z versus turning it around a little bit and thinking about what are the benefits to this customer? What are the outcomes that they're trying to achieve? And how does my product or service help them accomplish that? It sounds really simple, but we have several techniques and strategies that help you to get to that point. So we teach salespeople through outcome-based selling how to dig deep into client needs instead
Mhm.
of surface ones, how to provide value to the customer throughout the entire sales process to the extent that, like, as you're talking about, that they see you as a trusted advisor. How do you ask good questions that not every salesperson on the street is asking? How do you ask questions that really dig deep into what their actual needs are and uncover those needs? And all of those things, and we've seen it with our clients, is that it really leads to higher closing rates. It leads to lower discounting, which a lot of people struggle with. And also, it expedites your sales cycle. I think it's a really powerful approach to sales.
Yeah, so that just sparked my idea. Have you heard of Story Brand before?
No, I don't think I have.
So it's a book by Donald Miller. It's a whole philosophy around marketing through the hero's journey, which is,
Yes. Yes, I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about now.
okay.
Yep.
For
Yep.
anybody watching this who doesn't know what the hero's journey is, it is a fiction, actually, it's a fiction plot line for most stories. And in this case, applying it to business, the hero is the customer of the story, and the business is the guide, the person who walks them through their journey so they can get to the other side and resolve the story, the problem. So, what you're telling me right now just makes me think of that you need to dig deep, and one of the things in Story Brand is you need to figure out philosophically what is it that's bothering them about their problem? What is their true fear around their problem? Is it that you're solving a problem that will save them time so they could be less stressed? Are they afraid they're going to get fired if they don't solve this problem? There's bigger, deeper problems that are hurting the person who wants to purchase your service or product. And that's what you need to dig into so you can really understand the value that you're providing.
Definitely. Yeah, I love that. The hero's journey. Yeah, and the customer should be the hero of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You're painting that story from like Luke
Star
Skywalker.
Wars.
Yeah,
Exactly.
great.
Star Wars
Yeah.
is like the epitome of the hero's journey.
Right. Yeah, the farm boy to becoming like a legendary Jedi Knight. You know what I mean? You're
Yes,
painting that.
you need to make
Yeah,
your customer the Jedi.
exactly. Yeah. And I think obviously that's a marketing book, right? That same principle applies to sales as well.
Yeah, and I think story brand, definitely the audience is small businesses. So I feel like the philosophy of it applies to a type of person who would be doing both marketing and sales. And they work together. Marketing is supporting sales, so it needs to be the same. You need to have the
Definitely.
same mentality when it comes to it.
Definitely.
How can people find you online? And do you have any lead gens that you want to share with the audience?
Sure. Yeah, audience can find me online on LinkedIn, William Reddick. You'll find me there. You could also find me through the globalperformancegroup.com website. And yeah, be sure to check out the B2B Sales Trends podcast. It's a great podcast, I think, for marketers and salespeople, regardless of the size of your organization, to kind of give you tips and tricks and kind of see what the larger organizations are doing to be successful in their sales operations.
Thank you for joining Tiny Marketing. I help tiny marketing departments create consistent content that builds trust with their audience. Book done for you content marketing at sarahnoelblock.com. Don't forget to follow the podcast on your favorite podcast app. And if you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn, make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button.